Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Jenna, and today we're going to be doing a 10-minute standing flow for strengthening your glutes. So many common and chronic conditions like SI joint pain, low back pain, even knee and foot pain stem from having weak glutes. So almost everybody can benefit from strengthening their glutes, and I'm going to show you some accessible, fun yet challenging ways that we can work on that today in a standing position so that when you're working on these muscles, you're in a more functional position. It's also great to be working on your glutes, lying down on your back, and yet you're not getting that weight-bearing force that you would be getting if you're doing standing exercises. My name is Jenna. I'm a movement and Pilates specialist, and I work with chronic pain and injuries so that you can resolve pain at its source and get back to doing the things that you love to do. So let's get started. We're going to start with the feet directly under our hips, hands right on the hips, and just begin with a gentle squat. So we're not going as deep as you can go. We're just starting to warm up. So you're creasing at your hips, bending your knees. And with any squat, you'll notice that there is also a bend at the ankles. So you want to allow for that bend. You can look down, tracking the knees over your second toes, and making sure that you see that bend in your ankles. It's really hard to squat when we're only moving from our hips. Let's do a few more like that, making sure that the feet are parallel. And now we're going to start to lift one leg at a time. Bring it back down, go back to your squat, and switch sides. Squat, and leg lift, and squat, and leg lift. So notice as I'm doing these, I'm not going super high with my leg, and that's because I want to keep my leg parallel. So we only have about 30 degrees of hip abduction without rotating the toes out. So in other words, just keep the toes pointing straight forward as much as you can as you're doing that side leg lift. Let's go ahead and do one more time on each side. Very nice. You can go ahead and shake it out a little bit. Hope you're starting to already feel those glutes working. So I'll turn to the side. We're going to do a standing lunge. So notice when I do this that I'm not in a super long stance like I would be in for Warrior One. I'm a little bit more narrow, and it just helps me bend my back knee so that when I bend my back knee, it's about 90 degrees. So that's what you're going for. My core is engaged, the ribs are drawn in, and I just have my plumb line through my body. So the work here is focusing on the standing leg or the front leg. So I'm feeling my left glute here working in this position. And then we're going to open the legs back out to a V and go ahead and switch sides. Bending and straightening. We're going about 90 degrees with that back knee. You don't have to touch the ground. Notice how I'm just hovering my knee maybe 3 or 4 inches above the ground. I'm bending my front knee about 90 degrees. Let's go for 3 more, really loading that front hip. 2 and 1. Hopefully you're feeling those glutes working by now. So let's go ahead and switch again to that first side. And we're going to bend the front knee, but instead of going into a lunge, this time what I'm going to do is start to bring my weight towards my front leg, and I'm going to begin to tip forward, lifting my back leg and bring it down. So if that feels too challenging to lift your back leg, then you're just going to load that front hip, and you can stay like that and maybe just try to barely lift the foot up. Otherwise, I'm going to lift that leg, and now I'm working both glutes, and with control, bring the leg down. So I load that front hip, lift my back leg, major balance. And if the balance part of it feels too challenging, then you can always have one hand at the wall and use that for support. Make sure you're also really engaging and drawing your abdominals in. Let's go ahead and do one more time on that side. And then we're gonna turn to that second side and do that again here. So I'm shifting my weight, loading that front hip, lifting the back leg with control, bring it down. So the slower you go with these, the harder it's going to feel because you're really requiring more work for that front leg, the glute and the glute medius, which is an important stabilizing muscle of the hip. Let's do 2 more here. And last one. Very nice. And go ahead and turn again to center. So now we're going to do a side lunge. We're just going side to side. And again, I'm trying to track my knee and my toes pretty much straightforward. There can be a little bit of a turnout in the foot. From there, turn the toes straight forward. I'm going to do a side lunge now. So one leg is going to bend as the other leg straightens. You may feel also a nice inner thigh stretch on the side that's staying straight. And again, I'm just tracking my knee right over my second toe. Each time you do it, you can just look down and make sure that you're still tracking the knee so that you don't strain your knees. Let's do one more time on each side there. Very good. Let's do a stretch from here. Go ahead and just forward fold. And you can bring your hands down. Just take a few long, deep breaths here. As you're ready, soften your knees and slowly roll yourself on up. Very good. Let's heel toe the feet together. Bring the right leg behind the left. We're going to do a curtsy. So what I'm doing here is I'm pointing my knees out to the sides. Both of my legs are turned out. And I should feel the work mostly in that standing leg, and again, that standing glute. I'm only slightly leaning forward, but I'm mostly maintaining a neutral spine. Let's do 3, 2, and 1. So if it's challenging to get into this position, your leg doesn't have to be as far back as mine is. So just any position where you're able to open the knees to the side. But the benefit of having your leg behind you is you're going to feel more work in that front hip. So play with the position so that you do feel the work in your front hip. You could try stepping your leg back a little bit more. Find a position that's doable for you. But continue to keep about 60% of your weight in that front leg. Let's go for 3, and 2, and 1. Very good. All right, let's just roll the hips out a couple times, rolling in both directions. Very nice. So for the next one, I grabbed a yoga block. You don't need a yoga block, but you could use something about that size to prop your foot on. It just gives you a little bit more range of motion so that the hip can move. So I'm playing with my position a lot because you want the legs to be in the same line. And what I'm going to do now is soften my front leg. So I have a micro bend in my front leg and my back knee is lifting and lowering. So I'm doing like a mini clamshell, but the headlights of my hip bones stay pointing forward. So I'm not rotating my pelvis at all. I'm really just moving the femur in the socket. So you could always do many of these. You could do with a TheraBand around your legs if you want more resistance, but I always suggest doing these without the resistance at first, and then you can build up to that. So the second side, I'm going to have my left leg forward, my right leg back this time, I'm going to show you from the front so that you can kind of get a sense, that wasn't the right position, of the movement. Opening that knee, hips are staying pointing straight forward. I have a soft bend in this front knee. I'm feeling that standing leg really working big time. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and shake it out. So if you did grab a yoga block, go ahead and put that between your inner thighs now, or if you don't have one, use a pillow. And I'm going to finish here with another set of squats. This time I'm squeezing the block between my inner thighs. I'm really dropping my heels into the earth, sitting back into this imaginary chair behind me. So I'll show you the side view of what my hips and spine look like. I'm really folding into my hips. And really it's the glutes working on the way up. So feel those glutes working as you straighten your knees. Let's do 3 more of those. And 2. The last one, we're gonna hold the position and just do little pulses up and down. So wherever it's comfortable for you to bring your hands, I have mine on my knees. I'm doing little pulses up and down from the booty. We're gonna go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. And slowly straighten those legs. You can take the block away. And now we're going to do a standing figure 4 stretch, but you could always do this on your back. If your knee doesn't like this, or if the balance is too challenging, feel free to do it on your back, but otherwise, you're going to cross one ankle over the other knee, start to fold forward until you feel the stretch in your hip. Long, deep breaths here. And very nice. Let's do that on the other side, crossing the ankle over the knee. If you can, bring one hand to your knee, one hand on your foot. Don't press too hard, but it's just a placement of the hands. Continue to keep the spine long and breathe and release. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you found that glute work fun, challenging, and that your hips feel much stronger after this video. Please like and subscribe if you've been loving these videos I put out every week, and hit the bell icon so that you will be notified each time I release a video. If you would like to also work with me, there is information about that below, where we can do one-on-one coaching that is specific for what you have going on with your body. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.